Hello, 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 hello. Hope all of you fine folks are doing well tonight. 8 o'clock Eastern time, ready to rock and roll. As always, please get all of your questions into the chat. If you can help me out by putting a couple question marks in front of your question, very, very helpful so I don't miss anybody. I want to make sure we answer every single question that comes through. And if you are catching the replay, you're more than welcome to post some questions down below in the comment section because I answer all of those questions as well. So please get all of your questions in early because once I beat the chat, it is a wrap, folks. Thriftwear, first place, Brian, second place, Pro Mellow, third place, Scott, fourth place, Linda, fifth place. I appreciate all of you fine folks. Remember, hit the thumbs up button. That's right here. Hit it. If you hit the thumbs up button, you get a sale every single time. I don't make the rules. It's just the way it goes. If you hit the thumbs down button, you're more than welcome to, but you will get a return request, and that return request will be an item not as described return request. And then it'll be a false item not as described return request if you hit the thumbs down. But I don't make the rules. It's just the way it goes. So you hit the thumbs up, you get a sale. You hit the thumbs down, you get a false item ad return request. And that's just the way things work. And that's just the way things go. So make sure you get your questions in early, please. Here to help. Want to be here. Enjoy talking to all of you fine folks. It feels like it's been so long, but it's only been a week. We just made it in the door to do this live. I was in Orlando for a couple of days doing my Central Florida swoop, getting as many good items as I can. Just got home a little bit ago, sat down, started the live, and we are ready to rock and roll, my friends. So get all of your questions in the chat, please. I want to kick it off with one kind of really common question. As we get a question a lot. I get it on social media. I get it on Instagram. I get it in the comments. We get it in the live chat very frequently. What do I do if a customer says the item hasn't arrived, but the tracking shows that it has been delivered? It's a very common question. It's a very common thing that does happen. So if you do get what's called an item not received case opened against you, and the tracking number has confirmed delivery, all you have to do is upload the tracking number to the case, and eBay will decide in your favor every single time. You are not obligated to give them a refund. You are really technically not obligated to do anything. If the return or if the tracking number shows that the item has been successfully delivered, upload that tracking number to the case. eBay will find and rule in your favor every single time. Now, this is where it gets tricky. If someone opens up an item not as described, or if someone opens up an item not received case and the tracking number does not show delivered, you can go to the post office, go to USPS.com, do a missing mail search, put in the tracking number, give them the information. Hopefully that will kickstart the package to start moving again and then get successfully delivered to the customer. Remember always, first and foremost, practice good customer service. Let them know that this is, you are very, very sorry, that this is a priority for you. It's your number one priority in life to make sure that this package does get delivered to its destination successfully. So if it has not been delivered, if it is stuck in transit, go to USPS.com or FedEx.com or UPS, the shipper of your choice, open up a missing mail case, and that will get it kickstarted. Someone will manually go look for the item, track it down, figure out where it is, call you up sometimes and give you some information, and the item will start tracking again. And then hopefully the package is delivered before the case times out. So once someone opens up an item not received case, you're like on the clock. And they give you, 48 to 72 business hours to get the case resolved. If the item is not received within that window that the case is opened, the buyer can escalate the case and eBay will give them a refund if the item has not been successfully delivered. Now, here's where you have some protection. If the item has a recent scan, and a recent scan is defined by any time within the last 10 days, eBay will extend the case another 10 days for the item to be successfully delivered. You may have to call them and say, hey, the case is scheduled to close tomorrow, or the buyer is able to escalate the case tomorrow. It does have a recent scan. Can you please put the case on hold for 10 days? They'll look it up and they'll say, sure, no problem. They'll extend the case. Now, when they do extend the case, it's your responsibility to call eBay back once it is delivered and let them know that this item has been delivered, because sometimes they will rule against your favor if you don't call them up once the case has been escalated further and put on hold. So to sum it up, to wrap it up really quickly, if someone opens up an item not received case and the tracking number is confirmed delivered, upload the tracking number, wash your hands of it, go list more items. You're going to win the case every single time. If someone opens up an item not received case and it is not delivered, practice good customer service, do a missing mail package research case, and make sure that you are cognizant and aware of when the closing or escalation date is. And if it has a recent scan, get on the horn, talk to eBay, ask eBay to extend the case. And normally 99.9% of all packages are going to be recovered and delivered during that window. So you don't have to worry about it if it says received. That's your obligation. Now, if it is never received and you are in jeopardy of the buyer escalating the case and you losing the case, you do not want to lose the case, because you will get a defect for case closed without other resolution. And that is one of the harshest defects that you can receive on your account. So if the item truly is lost, it has no scans, nobody can find it, issue the customer a refund. Don't let eBay do it on your behalf. Don't let them escalate against you, because eBay will give them a refund every single time if you cannot satisfy a confirmed delivered tracking number. They will give them a refund every single time, because it is our obligation to make sure that we deliver the item. So if it is not deliverable, if it gets lost, if they can't find it and you're in jeopardy of losing the case, you have to issue a refund. And at this point, you have to open an insurance claim with the shipper that shipped the item. Now, if you purchase the label on eBay, you purchase the label on Pirate Ship for USPS, and you use the service Priority or Ground Advantage, Priority and Ground Advantage both come with a free $100 insurance that you don't have to pay for. So if you do have to issue a refund, go to the post office's website, do a insurance claim, and you'll get a check probably within 5 days or so for the amount that they do owe you, up to $100, or if you paid additional insurance, up to that additional insurance amount. So that's just really a commonly asked question, and one I wanted to just knock out really quickly right at the beginning. Now let's jump into the chat. Give me all the questions, everything that you guys got, please. Give me all of them. Carlos says he's waiting for the sale because he hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, chat has jumped. Where are we? Question: what is the easiest way to store your pieces to make packing orders easier? If you're talking about some sort of storage solution, most people use the cardboard box, plastic bag with a SKU on the bag, chronological inventory system. That is the most efficient space-wise. It's a little bit slower because you do have to create the SKU. You do have to fold it, put it into a bag. You do have to seal the bag. You do have to, condense boxes and stuff like that. But it is the most efficient space-wise. And for most people, that is the most efficient way to store. For me, if you go back all the way to my very first YouTube video, I show how I did an inventory system hanging on racks. And I did it by category, by color, by date. So I did it chronologically. And that one is faster. But it does take way more space. So I think for most people, the shelves with the cardboard box with the SKU chronologically is the way to go. If I had to choose one flea near Miami, which one would I go to? It depends on what you're looking to sell. They have good flea markets in Miami, good flea markets by Fort Lauderdale, a couple of okay ones in West Palm Beach. They have some up in Fort Pierce area. It all depends on what type of items you're going to sell. So I would go to Google Maps. I would search flea market. I would look at the photos, get a lay of the land, and figure out which one has the best opportunity of selling items that I'm looking for. Once we join the group, how long until we become rich? The group, if the group was advertised as get rich quick, it would have 100 million people in it because resellers all want to get rich quick. The group is always advertised as do all the work group. That's why we only have 2,500 people in it. So there is no amount of time that you join the group and you become rich without doing all of the work. So the group is doing all the work group. The group is not a silver bullet or a magic pill to make you into a millionaire overnight, and it's never been advertised in that manner. It is do all the work group, and that's why nobody wants to join. Was today the first you'd heard of mall core? Bro, that was the most ridiculous core that I've ever heard of in my life. Brutal. What's your best 90-day margin? I'm not sure what you mean by that. 90-day total. So the most that we ever did in 1 year was $2.5 million. So if you divide that by 4, that's where we're at. I just saw a bus pass saying there's nothing stopping me. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. What's the number one bottleneck in your business today? What are you doing about it? I can't get enough inventory. Every single day in the DM, I turn down 20 to 30 people that all want a pallet. If you figure you could fit 1,000 items on a pallet, I turn down between 20 and 30,000 pieces of clothing that I'm able to sell, but I don't have enough. Right now, I only have about 5,000 pieces per day. But every single day, I turn down about 20 to 30 people. And if you do the math and you extrapolate it out, that comes out to $47 million per year that I have to turn down because I don't have enough inventory. But I'm working on it, and being patient, being urgent at the same time, fighting from both ends of that. But it's going to take time, and nothing happens overnight. You just got to keep working, just got to keep growing, just got to keep meeting new people, going to new places, identifying new sources. And so the biggest bottleneck for my wholesale business right now is that I don't have enough inventory to meet the demand of the customer, which is a beautiful place to be. But every single day I turn down $47 million a year because I don't have the capacity to fulfill another 20 to 30 pallets per day right now. At what age did I start selling? I started selling in 2008. So I was about 23, 24 years old. Best practice for shipping policies, free versus fixed versus calculated. So it really depends on what the market allows. If you sell iPhone cables, you can't do fixed, you can't do calculated because the expectation is free shipping. So if your category allows for a fixed or a calculated shipping, it is something that you can explore. However, it's not required. You could still do free shipping if you want to. There's a few downsides for free shipping in the United States. The UK and Australia is a bit different. But in the United States, if you do free shipping, you cannot withhold the original shipping on a buyer's remorse return. And a buyer's remorse return is wrong size, doesn't fit, found a better price, no longer need. For those issues, if you did charge original shipping, you can withhold the original shipping from the refund and just refund the cost of the item. If you have free shipping, there's no original shipping to withhold. So every single time you would always be reimbursing and refunding the original shipping because you do free shipping. If you do fixed price, you do have the ability to control the cost. You do have the ability to never lose money on a label. You do have the ability to turn like a 25-cent profit, 50-cent profit, and kind of hold that in a slush fund to hedge against people that do misuse returns, to hedge against free returns, buying those labels, to hedge against people that do a switcheroo in the event that those things do happen, to maybe help out with purchasing shipping supplies like bags or boxes or whatever you use. If you do calculated shipping, most times if you do calculated shipping, it's going to charge the exact rate to the customer as you're going to pay on the label. And technically speaking, you put yourself in a better position to lose money on every single sale because eBay charges a final value fee on what you charge for shipping. So if you charge $10 for shipping and the label is $10, eBay will charge you a final value fee on that $10. And if it's 13%, they're going to charge you 13% on $10, which is $1.30 straight to eBay. So you get $9.70, but you purchase, or you get $8.70, but you purchase a $10 label. So you do have to be aware of that. You do have to keep that in mind. And we just went over this on yesterday on the morning call, actually, a way to calculate and figure out if you are making money on shipping, if you are breaking even on shipping, or if you are losing money on shipping. If you go to the sales tab, underneath the sales tab, you have what's called seller fees. Seller fees are defined by eBay fees and your shipping labels. And you can figure out how much you've billed out for shipping if you go to the reports page. And you can take how much you've billed out for shipping, and you can minus how much you've paid from the shipping costs. And hopefully you've made a little bit of money. Hopefully you've broke even. Hopefully you lost money, depending on what your strategy is. And if you're doing free shipping, you're going to lose money, technically speaking, on purchasing labels. If you're doing a fixed rate, maybe you can profit 10 cents or 25 cents or 30 cents every single time. And at scale, this adds up. If you're doing calculated shipping, you may be putting yourself at jeopardy unknowingly of losing money on every single label that you do purchase, because eBay is going to charge a final value fee on what you charge the customer or what you bill out. Do you offer access to the deep dive documents on a per day rate, or do you offer it for sale anywhere? We do not. The deep dive document is included being a member of the group. If you had to rebuild your eBay business from zero with $1,000 on a laptop, what would your first 30 days look like? Probably over $10,000 in sales. Like, I don't know if you guys realize or know or understand that I show like millions of dollars of inventory on my Monday videos, and that's from one morning of sourcing per week. I only source one day a week. I go on Saturday, and all those videos that you see are on Saturday. Sometimes I go to the flea market on Sunday, sometimes I go on Thursday, but the big day for me is Saturday, and that's where all the videos come from. The Thursday stuff that I find, the Sunday stuff that I find, it doesn't make the videos. The big day for me is Saturday, and I have showed millions of dollars of inventory from one morning of sourcing on Saturday after not sourcing for 5 years, because I stopped sourcing when COVID happened, and I built up the team and people were bringing me inventory. This is me 1 year, 1.5 years, boots back on the ground, showing you guys millions of dollars of inventory, sourcing one day a week. So if I was going ham 7 days a week, there's no stopping me, my friends. If you had a unit of a snapback, but one tooth of the very end of the snap is broken, do you replace it? Absolutely not. Just take a photo. I've had an eBay store, and that is all niche, about 800 items and many more to go. I got a bunch of stuff at an estate sale. Should I start a second eBay store? You do not have to. Sorry, that's not eBay policy to drop ship. eBay does not like drop shipping. They have an entire drop shipping policy that is probably good for people to read that are interested in drop shipping. They have an entire drop shipping policy. eBay doesn't appreciate drop shipping very much. What about when unable to deliver and it's sent back to the sender? So if you do get a package returned to sender because of the bad address, what I always do is I always issue a refund for the item. I do not issue a refund for the original shipping. I relist it and I send the buyer a message and say, hey, there was an issue with your address. I relisted the item. Here's the link. You can go ahead and repurchase it once you fix your address. So I do not issue them a 100% full refund. I issue them the refund for the item. The post office got the label money, and I give them a link so that they can purchase it again. When users search for a generic term like vintage shirt on eBay, what strategies can be used to ensure your listing appears on top of search results? It's very difficult because that's a very, very generic and saturated search. If you really wanted to ensure your listings appear at the top, you would use eBay advanced promoted listings, where you bid on the term vintage shirt, and you would have to bid a very, very high rate to ensure that you go to the top. Or you would have to do promoted listings, the general one, and you'd probably have to do a very, very large percentage. But there is no way to ensure that you go on the top of a very generic search without bidding and paying eBay a very large percentage of that sale. Very good. When you had the mail carrier come pick up at the warehouse, did they scan each package or a scan chart? They always scanned every single package. I wanted to restart my reselling business. I'm giving myself to the end of May, but that's when summer slowdown starts. But I really want to do this. Do you think it's doable? Absolutely, it is doable. When are you coming to Indiana? I have no plans. You ask that every single week, Jeffrey. I literally have no plans to go to Indiana. If I want to go look at corn, I'll just go to North Florida. I don't need to go all the way to Indiana to see corn, my friend. My eBay store is all media oriented. For example, at this estate sale, you don't need 2 eBay stores. You can just list the same one there. You've been super helpful. I find Polo Ralph Lauren button-up shirts all the time at my Goodwill for $8 a piece, but they are the most average button-up. Are they still good to pick up? You have to tell me. Are you okay with the expected return on investment? Are you okay with the amount of time that it's going to take for that item to sell? If you are, then pick them up. If you are not, then keep searching for something a little bit better. So in my newsletters, I've been pairing Abercrombie & Fitch items next to Hollister. Do you think I'm shooting myself in the foot? No, those are pretty adjacent. So what do I do if my mail carrier often doesn't scan my items at pickup and I'm waiting days for it to pop up in the system? You have to have a conversation with the mail carrier or the postmaster general. I have about 210 items of clothes, some vintage, some BOLOs. How much per item you think is reasonable if I sell this as bulk? I'm not sure. If the items are worth like a bajillion dollars, then you can get a lot of money in bulk. But if the items are worthless, then you can't get a lot of money in bulk. So if you have 210 items, how much are they worth? Are they worth $20 each? Maybe someone's willing to pay 3 or 4 or 5. Are they worth $50 each? Maybe someone's willing to pay 10. So it all depends on how good the items are. If the items have no value, then expect to wholesale them for no money. I've been listing more items on eBay, around 20 items a day, like mid items though. So should I wait a few weeks before? Oh, the chat jumped. Hold on. Chat jumped. Like mid items though. So should I wait a few weeks before I start seeing results? I've been selling around 5 to 10 a day, but want 20. So you're going to have to wait for your store size to catch up. Just because you increase the listings today doesn't mean you're going to sell more items tomorrow. So your sales are determined by the conversion rate of the items that you have. And if your conversion rate is X and you list more of those items, it's going to take time for your store to build up to give you 1 additional, 2 additional sales on average. So when you do increase your listings, you can do the math. If you have 1,000 items in your store and you sell 10 a day on average, that means for every 100 items in your store equals 1 sale a day on average. So if your store only had 100 items, you would sell 1 item per day on average. This is not a rule. This is just an example of simple numbers and mathematics. It's not a rule. It doesn't mean if you have 100 items, you should sell 1 item. That's not what we're talking about. If you have 1,000 items and you sell on average 10 per day, just for round numbers, if your store had 1,100 items, on average, you would sell 11 per day. So in your situation, now that you've increased the listings, if your magic number was 100 items, once you grew your store an additional 100 items, on average, you should have 1 more additional sale per day, barring these items are not garbage and barring these items are not gold bars. Gold bars, you're going to sell quicker. Garbage, you're going to sell slower. So if everything remains exactly the same and your store grows that magic number size, on average, you will get 1 more sale per day for every single time that your store grows that magic number. Is this a good time to look for off-season items at the bins, winter clothes, for example? I list and wait. I don't wait and list. So if there's a good jacket in June, I'm listing that thing and I'm selling it in July. I have a package scanned by the post office 2 months ago, and that's all that's happening. Still no movement. I would consider that item lost. And if your buyer has reached out, I would issue them a refund and I would file an insurance claim. How does the group work? I may join. The group has, I do the morning call every single day. We have 30 live calls per week in every single niche. We have a scheduling call. We have a toy call. We have a book club. We have a fashion call. We have me back again. We have a 100K call. We have an AI call. We have UK sellers, Australia sellers, UK clothing sellers, Poshmark, live sellers, shoe call, media sellers, car part sellers, Amazon, men's clothing, women's clothing. We have a call for every single niche and every single discipline of reselling. I answer every single question myself in the Facebook group. We have every single file, guide, walkthrough, BOLO, deep dive document. It's the most comprehensive resource for reselling anywhere on the internet. It's $1. If you can't make more money by being part of the group, send me a message and I'll give you a refund. I get all my stock on half days a week. I do retail arbitrage, so I'm picking up 20 to 30 units of the same item. Should I list all the same day or drip feed into the listings? I would list all the same day, me personally. What's the best method you have for description, listing, order for clothing? Just whatever is accurate and whatever is concise and to the point of pertinent information where the buyer can read it, do their due diligence, and make an informed buying decision. You don't want something as long as a CVS receipt, and you don't want something that has no information. Something that is straight to the point where buyers can do their due diligence and make an informed buying decision. Buyer wants delivery to be made during normal business hours. Selected USPS Ground Advantage. How can I control delivery time frame? You cannot. How do you document your cash purchases to satisfy the IRS? It's best to always talk to a CPA regarding that kind of stuff. A CPA will give you a free consultation. Go there 1 hour, talk to them, ask some questions, see what they can help you with, see what kind of questions they can clarify you for. But at the end of the day, the IRS is looking for a method. So long as you do have a method that they can, backtrack and they can audit and they can account for, then you're good to go. So, some people do certain things. Some people log everything in a logbook. Some people put addresses in a logbook. They write every single thing that they purchased. They write down how much they spent on each item. Probably talk to a CPA and develop the best method for you and your business at this time. How you doing, Sarah? How do you wash items that have tags that you buy from the thrifts that are new but may have a stench to them? I remove the tag, I wash them, and I list them as pre-owned. Do you see Depop growing or dying in the next 5 years? It will probably grow. Would you be willing to close a deal at some rag houses to grow your inventory? A rag house, if it's good stuff, if it's great stuff, then sure, close the deal. But if it's bad stuff, then you have to walk away. So it all depends on what kind of stuff it is. If it's good, go. If it's not good, then you got to go somewhere else. So it depends on what it is. If it's great stuff, close the deal. If it's bad stuff, walk away. How you doing, Jonathan? Do you recommend using promoted listings that have a high sell-through rate? That part is up to you. If you're okay with paying eBay an additional amount in fees for items that do sell, then that's a decision that you need to make. But we need to understand that we need to be able to afford those promoted listings. There's a lot of people that are promoting themselves out of business, and we need to make sure that we are not one of those people. So I would go to the eBay sales calculator, figure out how much I need to, or how much I can afford to promote. And if you want to promote an item that has a very high sell-through, you are free to do so. If you do not want to promote an item that has a very high sell-through, that's okay too. So just think about what's the best usage of your, promotions, what's the best usage of your money, what's the best usage of your time, and develop some sort of business rule or strategy based on those circumstances. And everybody's circumstances is going to be different. So if you want to promote an item that has a 10,000% sell-through, you're allowed to do that, and that's okay. And no one can say that that's incorrect or wrong. If that's what you want to do, and that's what your business model is, that's what your strategy is, and that's what you can afford to do. Gerson, $5 super chat from the 305. Thank you very much. Not necessary at all. Here to help. Don't need anything from any of you folks. Just need a little bit of your attention and a commitment to be actionable in what we talk about. I'll put it on the flea market food review fund. Thank you very much. When was the last time you got caught slipping on an item? Was it due to a trend you're just not aware of? I don't know. Like the last time, I know like the most painful ones, like the most painful ones I got caught slipping on before was like way back in the day. Like this had to be 10 years ago, before like anyone knew what mosquito head shirts were. I did get caught slipping on a Marilyn Monroe mosquito head. I sold it for like $40. It sold immediately, and it ended up being worth like 400. Now that shirt is worth like 800 or 1,000. But this was like in the dark ages of reselling, and like 10 years ago, no one knew what a mosquito head shirt was. But I learned my lesson and I gained my education, and I've probably sold $10,000 worth of mosquito head shirts since then. So sometimes the best lesson, the best education is the old-fashioned way, my friend. Hello, Dance Dance. How you doing? We got Michelle in the chat. Let's go. Does government fatigue clothing have a market? Are you talking about military stuff? If so, yes. If you're talking about like government police style stuff, you got to be very careful with that. There's a lot of rules and regulations on eBay about selling that kind of stuff. How much do you spend to get all that inventory on Saturdays? I spend about $10,000 a week going to the flea market. So about between $40,000 and $50,000 a month going to the flea market. If I buy an item from Goodwill for 30 and sell it on eBay for 60, is it still worth, or after fees? That's up to you. Like in a conventional setting, that's like 100 times more margin and profit than Walmart. Walmart would be over the moon to have that kind of profit margin. So it's up to you. You have to figure out what your time is worth. You have to figure out what your effort is worth. And if your effort is not worth selling something or buying something for 30 and selling it for 60, then you need to move into something else that is worth your effort. Maybe 30 to 70, 30 to 80, 30 to 100. 30 to 500. It just depends. Everyone is going to have a different situation or different circumstance, but there's going to be people in this chat. Half of them will say I would do it. Half of them are going to say I wouldn't do it. And then what? At the end of the day, you got to figure out what's worthwhile, what your time is worth, and you have to go out and identify and find those items. Recovery kicks, government received fatigue clothing. We answered that a moment ago. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. What do you think of the true vintage market, 1970s or earlier, over the next 5 years? Do you see the trend holding strong? Probably not. It'll come and go just like every single trend does. And something else will be cool and they'll jump to that. What calls can I watch and talk about the supplies that you need, like labels and how to set up your station? So every kind of niche or what you sell your station is going to be a bit different, but every setup should have like some of like the foundational stuff. If you go to the group and you search warehouse on the magnifying glass in the top right, there's a lot of people that have showed their setup. If you search shipping station, there's a lot of people that have showed their setup. That's what I would do. And I would try to look at other people's setups and try to gain some inspiration for that. So search warehouse and then search shipping station. And that should probably give you a pretty good idea of what other people are using. And then maybe you can implement and incorporate some of that stuff into your section as well. Jeffrey's still giving me a hard time about going to Indiana. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. So like right now, I don't have any plans to go anywhere. Like I have a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of stuff outside of my control going on right now, a lot of stuff up in the air. So right now, I don't have any plans to go anywhere. I said that just saying that we just came back from Orlando being there for 3 days. So, things are very fluid. I could be gone tomorrow. I could be here tomorrow. I'm not sure. All I know is tomorrow I have to record a podcast. I got to go to the CPA and I got to do something else, but I can't remember right now. When a buyer reports to eBay item not received and you can provide the tracking info and shows it was delivered, what percentage of the time will eBay rule in your favor? Every single time if you could show it's been delivered. For stores, you find the dead stock items, and how would you generally describe them for someone just starting to explore the realm? Good news for you, Walter. The video coming out on Monday is a dead stock hunt again, this time in the Northeast. So I've showed you dead stock in California. I'm pretty sure I've showed you dead stock in other places, but this is dead stock in the Northeast around the New York area. Might be Delaware, might be Pennsylvania, might be Connecticut. I don't know, but this video coming out on Monday is all about finding the dead stock, and I give you some good tips in there, my friend. So watch the video on Monday. When you were in your world domination days, how many hours a day would you spend on brand research? Like dedicated time, not like hours per day, like when, more recently, but like in the beginning or like in the intermediate time frame, I did spend a considerable amount of time like doing research and studying and scrolling comps. But like if I'm not doing anything, or like if I'm doing something that requires like no brain power, I will probably open up a tab on eBay and do a search and just scroll and scroll and scroll. I do have a good memory. I do have a knack for like remembering eBay solds and logos and things like that. So like I just have to look at it like kind of once, and I can kind of scroll pretty quickly and kind of download it onto my hard drive. But every single day, even to this day, I will open up eBay, I will do some searches, and I will see what's selling and what's going on. What are your thoughts on an all electronics call? If there are people that want it, I will give it to them. You know that, Travis. What is the most expensive clothing piece you sold? I have sold a jacket for $5,000. That's probably the most expensive. I've sold several shirts for like 2,000 or 3,000. I've sold more shirts than I can remember for 1,000, and I've sold even more shirts for over 500. So the absolute very most expensive piece of clothing was $5,000. You ever go back and just do the zip code search for research? Not anymore. I pretty much have a handle of what is around here. It's more valuable for me to do searches on stuff that's not here. So like when it does migrate in this direction, I'm like the first one to know and find out. Or like very, very expensive stuff that isn't really seen a lot. So when I do see it, I'm kind of the first to know and I don't miss it. But as for like the regular stuff, like I pretty much got that figured out. What do you believe helps most the people that are struggling to work ethics and discipline to list? Probably being broke. Like finding the turning point where like you're sick of being broke is probably what helps the most amount of people start to get consistent. If you're not consistent, that is absolutely a luxury, and you are flaunting your reselling wealth by saying, I have so much money in my bank account. I do not need to work today or get my listings up until you are absolutely dead flat broke, where the alternative is something unimaginable to think about, or getting your listings up, it's probably pretty good motivation to get the listings up. Do you ever feel burnt out from doing all this? Never. Is Canada Post on strike? Someone made a post yesterday that they have a strike scheduled coming up. So probably pretty soon they're going to strike again. Where can we send pictures of the items? You can send them on Instagram. I'll take a look. At what point should I move from storage renting to an industrial building warehouse? When it makes sense. If you are going to make the move and sign a commercial lease, there are some things that do come with signing a commercial lease. There are some complications. There are some things that you should know about. You should know that it's always, most times, going to be a multi-year agreement, 3 years, 5 years. It's going to have an escalator every single month annually, 3%, 5%, maybe even more on the rent. You should know that now you're responsible maybe for an air conditioner. If it breaks, that's on you. That you're going to have an electric bill, maybe even a water bill if it has meters individually. You're going to have to now get commercial internet, which is the same exact thing as home internet, just 5 times more. It's the same thing, but it's $250 a month instead of $50 a month. And you need to absolutely do your research and study what's called CAM, Common Area Maintenance, because if you don't know what CAM is and you sign a contract and it has CAM and they want to resurface the parking lot and it's $80,000, you're paying your fair share of that, my friend. So there are some different things, but nothing that can't be overcome. So when it makes sense, that's the time to do it. Is 90 Columbia good, like the powder keg jackets? Do you put Patagonia above Lululemon? Some 90s jackets can be good, like the Whirly Bird one, and some of them can be good. Some of them can sell nicely. I would absolutely put Patagonia above Lululemon. Patagonia is pretty good. Some stuff for Lululemon is better than some Patagonia stuff, but most Patagonia stuff, like if I had to draft, I would put Patagonia over Lululemon. When and how would you recommend using AI? When it can help you get more listings up with least resistance. So when the day comes where an AI program gets released that can do all the work just from the photos, it's probably a good opportunity to get on it. And you can do one or two things. You can utilize your free time to list more items, which will make you more money, or you can utilize your free time to use the technology in the way technology is supposed to be used and gain back your time, gain back your freedom, go fishing, go to the park and play catch with your kid, read a book, paint a picture, take up a hobby, because now you're not sitting in front of the computer spending 2, 3, 4 hours a day getting listings up. Now you're going to spend about 8 minutes getting your listings up, and then you can go out and have fun after that. How do you clean hats? We put them in the washer. We put them in the dryer. You have to be careful of red, that will bleed. You have to be careful of wool, that will shrink. You have to be careful of the trucker hats with the foam interior. Sometimes that will disintegrate. And you have to make sure that you reshape them after the washer, after the dryer. Otherwise, they can get messed up. Do you do one-on-one coaching? No. Everything is for the group. People ask me to do one-on-one coaching and like, I'll pay you a bunch of money, but like, I don't have a price. Like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel comfortable doing $1. That's what I feel comfortable doing. And on the call, I will answer every single question you guys have. I will stay and work with you for as long as you need to be worked with. And that's what I want to do. $1. What were some of your most profitable deals, buyouts? How did you get yourself around those people? Most of the most profitable deals were at the flea market. There has been several deals that I have made over $100,000 profit on once everything was all said and done. One of the most profitable deals was doing a deal with the guy Storage Auction Pirate on the YouTube machine. I became aware of some vintage dead stock Grateful Dead shirts that he had. There was 1,000 of them. He wanted $50 each. They were dead stock from like 1996. I said, sure, no problem. I sent my guy over there. He landed within 24 hours. Everything was boxed up. He was paid, and my guy was flying back. And Storage Auction Pirates said that deal went more smoothly than a $5 deal at the flea market. And off that 50,000, I probably made 250,000 after it was all said and done. So mostly flea market deals is where I made the most money. What is the thumbs up thing? It was just a joke. You hit the thumbs up, you get a sale. You hit the thumbs down, you get a return request. It's just a joke. By the way, I converted all my listings to have best offer. What a big difference. Of course. Did you hear about the Klarna eBay agreement and what effect do you think that will have? Probably no effect. I think Klarna is like, I think they're in big trouble right now. Not big trouble, but I think like people are not paying for their stuff. So like, like they could do whatever they want. Yeah, right. Buy now, pay later pitfalls. Many customers aren't paying their stuff. So like Klarna has massive losses reported today. And I read an article about this a little bit earlier. It says Klarna users struggle to repay. Like they might be in big trouble. So probably a non-issue because Klarna marks 100 million customers as losses nearly double. So they got problems, Brian. I don't think it's going to be a huge thing. They're losing money hand over fist. Did you say you sold on Whatnot? I have never personally sold on Whatnot. If I live in a small population area like Citrus County, is there any way to niche down, or am I forced to stay general seller? You can niche down if you want to, but you're probably going to have to hit the road, and that's what it takes. So like my wife and I, we hit the road on Monday. We drove 4 hours, and then we drove 4 hours back home today. So like it might involve hitting the road. It might involve traveling. It might involve getting a hotel. It might involve long days and early mornings. Like we woke up this morning at 4:30 in the morning. We drove an hour in the opposite direction of our house. We went to a flea market and then drove all the way back home. So like we've been up and at it since 4:30 in the morning, and it's coming up on 9 p.m. So like if there's a will, there's a way. And I live in the same state as you, and I'm hitting the road 4 hours at a time. So catching up on the chat. Jeffrey, if you ask that question one more time, Marlon to raise, I'm going to have my wife ban you from the chat. Every week you ask that question, every week I give the same answer. Whereas the chat jumped. All right, trying to find it. All right, I'm here now. Do you go to the flea markets with an entry fee? Yeah, why not? I'm never going to let pennies hold up dollars. Based on the trends in clothing that you see are selling, what do you think will be the next big thing? As Jeffrey said, he's doing very good with the Abercrombie stuff. I called that a couple years ago. I think the preppy look will come back, and I think that stuff will start to do very well. Like vintage Abercrombie, I think that will do well. What did you learn from inventing Reseller Ruler about starting your own product from scratch and pushing your own brand? I don't know, not too much. Like Reseller Ruler, I don't take seriously. I never talk about it. I never post about it on Instagram. I've never advertised it one time. I've never ran an ad. I've never said, hey, go buy this. Not even one time. Not even one time. It's just something that I used to do on my back porch because I was bored. We've sold like tens of thousands of those things. If you go on eBay, like everyone has one. I don't make them anymore. They come out of Jeffrey State, Indiana now, but I don't make them anymore. But it's just something that I did for fun. I have so many inventions, so many like concoctions that I've made that I could probably sell, but the Reseller Ruler was just something for fun. But I don't know. I learned a couple things, but nothing really groundbreaking or noteworthy because like I didn't really take it seriously. It makes good money and it sells every single day, but like I don't know. It's never been a priority, honestly. If I have 634 items eBay and selling 5 to 10 a day, am I going in the right path? I mean, you're going in a path, but how do we distinguish whether it's the right path or not? If you're selling 5 or 10 a day and losing money on each one of them, we can't say you're going in the right path. So like with the information that you've provided, it's impossible to say whether or not you're moving in the right direction. Like you could be selling 5 or 10 a day and you could be over leveraging yourself and purchasing too many items, and you could be running at a deficit and losing money. So like, it's very difficult to say. Does listing individually have any added benefits than the list bulk versus the Excel spreadsheet? I don't think so. It's probably the same. Do you think Gap will make a splash one day, and should we pick it up for a couple of bucks? Some vintage Gap can sell pretty good. The Sean Weatherspoon collection Gap sells pretty good. But I think vintage Gap will come back sooner or later. How do you sell your clothes per pallet? Yeah, I sell them by pallets, usually between 600 and 1,000 pieces per pallet. How many times do you get stopped at your local flea market when sourcing? Not that often. Like, people say what's up because like I think people can tell like I'm locked in. So like there's not many people that like engage in a full-on conversation. Like sometimes people do, but like usually when people engage in a full conversation, it's at the end of the day and like we're both literally like walking to the parking lot. But I think people can tell like I'm locked in, so they kind of just say what's up. I say what's up, and you know we keep it pushing. But you know I welcome everyone. I'm very happy that people even give a damn and watch the videos. So like you know if anyone ever sees or has a question or wants to say what's up, then say what's up. I'm out there just like you, boots on the ground, trying to get it in. Do you know how to view your Patreon videos through YouTube, or would we need to sign up through YouTube? No, all of the Patreon videos are on YouTube. They're all on YouTube, ready to go. At the time when you used the rec system, did you write your cost of goods and inventory SKU? No, I did not. I had an average cost of goods. I knew how much I was spending. I knew how much was going out, and I didn't do line by line accounting at that point. What did you learn from inventing? Oh, we answered that one. Have you ever picked in Massachusetts? Not yet, but hopefully soon. But we did a podcast. We did two podcasts with Ronnie Hart. He lives in Massachusetts and he finds beautiful stuff. So there's great stuff over there. Carlos says he got the sale. Very good. Hey, do you guys go deep on sourcing Facebook Marketplace in the group? I would love to join, but that's where I am right now. Yeah, on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, Caleb, he does the Facebook Marketplace call. So we actually even have a local seller's Facebook Marketplace call in the group. We literally have everything. So Caleb, he hosts that call every single Monday at 6:30. Jeffrey with the same question every single week for 16 weeks in a row. Marlins are raising the postseason. Who do we got? Neither one is making the postseason, dude. How do you decide which pieces go on eBay, the store, or wholesale? Everything goes on wholesale. I do not sell clothing anymore on eBay. I have not sold clothing. Actually, May 1st marked 1 year where I stopped selling clothing on eBay and everything has gone wholesale. I think no matter how righteous you are, no matter how the right thing is the right thing you are, if you still sell the items that you're wholesaling, in my opinion, I think that you would always cherry pick the best stuff for you and you would send your customers inferior product. So I knew if I was ever getting into wholesale, I would never be allowed to still sell that item because I don't care how righteous you are, you're going to keep the best stuff for you and you're going to send customers inferior product. So in order for me to do wholesale the right way, the correct way, I cannot sell clothing on eBay anymore. And I have not sold a piece of clothing on eBay in 12 months and 20 days because May 1st, all the clothing came down from eBay, May 1st, 2024. So since I do not sell clothing on eBay anymore, if I find an item worth $1,000, it goes on the pallet. Does nothing for me anymore, could care less, don't care. Just like how I source Hokas and On Clouds, I don't keep the best On Cloud for me because I don't sell shoes. So all the Hokas, all the On Clouds, they go to somebody else. Easier selling category, men or women? In my opinion, it's men. Got a 3D emblem with a small Confederate flag on the art. What would you do with it? So eBay does have a Confederate flag policy, so you would have to find an alternative platform. When do you think the days of sourcing in clean air-conditioned stores while listening to Taylor Swift will be over? I think that we're going to see big changes in the next 5 years, and I think years 5 through 10, you'll see kind of a big divide amongst resellers who will make it and who will not. Fino says tech will answer everything, even if it's one-on-one for $1. Bro, It don't matter. If you write me on Instagram, I'll answer you. You write me by smoke signal, I'll answer you. You send me a carrier pigeon, I'll answer you. You fly a kite over here, I'll answer you. It don't matter. How are you finding the rapid growth in your YouTube and Patreon? Is this rapid growth? I'm after it. 4 videos a week, dude. Who else is out here putting out 4 videos a week? If you're putting out 4 videos a week, you better expect to see something. And Patreon has not rapidly grown. It's kind of just steadily grown since we started it. So I don't believe in rapid nothing. I believe in slow and steady, my friend. If you want to lease commercial, get your own experienced broker to work with you, negotiation with the landlord. It's good advice. Thank you very much. I am not a professional programmer, but I managed to code an AI that I talk to as I am listing, and I'm telling it the details of the item size and all. It creates a draft. Is that the future? Maybe. Klarna for food, people are not paying. Yeah, Klarna for Chipotle is wild. How many deals do you walk away from in a year, both in eBay domination and current day wholesale? I walk away from more deals than I accept, because you know how easy it is to go to the flea market and fill up an entire 18-wheeler, 53-foot trailer? It's very easy, but a lot of that stuff's going to be garbage. So in order for me to fill up the car, I have to say no and walk away from an 18-wheeler full of garbage and just take the good stuff. And I read a quote by Warren Buffett. The difference between a billionaire and a millionaire is that a billionaire says no even more. So the more things you say no to, the better off you'll be. And I say no just about to everything. On a pick sheet option when shipping, is there an option to arrange by SKU? If not, how is the fastest way you pull? You can arrange by the SKU, especially on your I always picked from the awaiting shipment page. I never really did the pick sheet, but I always did the awaiting shipment page. And on there, you can do by SKU, because I want to see the photo of every single item that I pick. So that's the way I did it. I don't have a lot of experience with the pick sheet, though. How can you, chat jumped 1 second. How can you automate the picture taking process? Someone much smarter than me got to figure that one out. You'd probably have to get several cameras on several rigs, have software that will take pictures all at the same time, and then upload those photos directly where they need to go. But like, I'm not that smart. Eric says the Marlins will see postseason play when the Dolphins have the same, or in other words, never. Thank you very much, Eric. What makes Arc'teryx such a desirable brand and command a higher price? The retail price on Arc'teryx is through the moon. So that's why the resale price on Arc'teryx is through the moon. Zane, my man from down under, how you doing? Flipping from the trailer said, are you going to Webster Monday? I am not. I came back home today. I was up in Orlando since Monday, came back home today. How long do you wait to begin discounting items that you haven't sold on eBay? So you need to figure out how many items you can afford to store and how long you can afford to have your item out for sale in order to figure out what aged inventory system works for you. If you live in New York City, like Audrey, our friend, and she has a small broom closet to store inventory, she's got to turn her items very quickly. She might be doing a markdown after 7 days. If you live in the middle of Wyoming, you have 100,000 square feet, paid off land, it's free to store, maybe you don't mark down for 1 year. So you need to figure out how many items you can afford to store and how long you want to have your items for sale, and figure out some sort of policy or rule for your business for an aged inventory markdown strategy. Have you ever had to pay the IRS when selling on eBay? I pay the IRS more money than I know that I'm happy with. So yes, if you make a profit, you owe the IRS some money. Utilizing coupons or major discounts on order items. I think that you could use a strategy for both personally. Jeffrey says, asking the Marlins question is a way to stall so I don't win the chat. Well, you guys are on the ropes, friends. So have you ever used a shipping company package up items for you in a different state? I have. We do it UPS everywhere we go. And then we purchase labels on Pirate Ship and email them to the UPS store that we're in. Opinions on whatnot, specifically for vintage kids clothing. I do know some people locally that do very well selling vintage kids clothing on whatnot. You just have to develop your following and, constantly produce good items, and people will be there to buy them. I went to Goodwill, found a green Reebok official NHL Blackhawks jersey, 2005 finals patch. Probably fake, honestly. Send a picture. Do you still have your FCC radio license? I do actually. Let me check. I think it expires very soon. I think they expire, what, 10 years or something? Yeah, I still got it. But I think it expires like very, very soon. Should I get it again? What do you say, Eric? And then we can go ham. Oh no. No, I'm good till 3030. We're good to go, Eric. We can go ham, literally. Um, Problems with customers not looking at details in the photo, get upset when it's not what they want. It's going to happen. Just practice good customer service. I'm a proponent of free returns. If you have free returns, there's really nothing to be mad at. But always just practice good customer service. The customer is always right. I sold a vintage Gap Y2K sweater for $50. Yes, yes, yes. Terry, how you doing? When you made the transition on moving inventory from your house to a secondary location, what was the one thing that surprised you the most about doing so? Like going home and having space, like not having stuff feeling like it's going to fall on top of you. Once everything was cleared out, I was able to breathe a little bit, able to get a little bit more mental capacity and mental brain power. Just having a little bit of breathing room when you walk in the door and not have all of your inventory on top of you. Plans to come back to New York City. I was thinking coming back to New York City like 3 days ago. I just haven't talked to my wife about it, but like I'm ready to come back now because like this is what we're gonna do. I want to be a reverse snowbird. You know how everyone from the north they come down to Florida in the winter time to get away from the winter? Nah, I'm leaving Florida in the summer and I'm coming back when the summer is over. So I will go to 70 degrees year round. Wherever that is, that's where I'm going because it is too hot. Tomorrow it's going to be 97 degrees. It's going to feel like probably 110 with the heat index. And summer doesn't start until June 20th. So this, I think this is the last year I'm spending in the Florida summer. I'm just going to go somewhere else and I'll come back in the fall. It's getting too hot. So hopefully we can go back to New York City soon. We've spent about almost 2 months in New York City in the last 6 months. So I like it up there. It's fun. There's always something happen. How much per pallet do you sell your clothes? It really depends on how many pieces is in it, but it's a few $1,000. Which 3 stocks do you recommend? I own 0 stocks. Do you sell your pellets to the public? I do whenever I get any additional. Do you think Poshmark will roll back their anti-excessive delist policy? It's hard to say because all that delist relist that cost the company, cost the platform money, and they're spending money listing the same items rather than spending money listing new items. So obviously it got out of control. They're spending so much money relisting items 10, 15, 20 times. They don't make no money. So it costs them money in computing power and electric and energy and servers and thinking and management and all this kind of stuff to keep relisting the same item over and over again. Of course, they're going to get tired of it. Seeing more Goodwill commercials and logos during and on sporting events. Very good. How much sleep do you get? However much I need. So today we've been up since 4:30. I still have a lot to do today, so I ain't getting a lot of sleep today. So I'm gonna go to sleep late probably, and I gotta wake up again tomorrow at 5:15 because we're gonna hit the flea market. So not a lot of sleep today, but that's all right. You sleep when you're dead. But usually just a few hours a night. I'm just ready to rock and roll from open to close. I don't need a lot of sleep. Best flea market near Dallas. Go on Google Maps, search flea market, look at the pictures, find the best one. Is tonight the night we beat the chat? Not even close. Because I've already beat the chat and I'm just stalling and letting it bounce just so we can make it 1 hour. Because I got you guys on the standing 10 count right now. On all the brands you have gone through, what brands do you actually consider great bang for the buck in terms of material or feel? For example, what brand do you think is underrated? I don't really wear like a lot of like cool clothes. I just like sell clothes. I have like a handful of shirts and the same pair of shorts 10 times over. But there's a lot of good companies out there that do offer very nice quality, but like I'm not like a candidate for that business. So like it's hard for me to say. Like I don't like clothes. I don't care about clothes. Clothes are just a widget for me to put my money into and get more money out of when it sells. When looking up eBay by zip, are those items also in the flea market or only Goodwill? They're wherever those people are sourcing from. So if they're going to the flea, they're going to the thrift, they're going to garage sales, they're going to the rags, wherever they're getting them from, they live close to you and they're listing them for sale. Are you able to send pallets to your wholesale items to Australia? No, just to the United States right now. We have a What Not Call in the group. What days and times? What Not Call is Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Desiree. I find a lot of vintage rare teas, but I live in Morocco. Give me some tips so I can sell them on eBay. You can still sell them on eBay. If they're that rare, somebody will buy them. Just list them. Did you announce what state the Crazy Good Haul was from last week? Only one person has got it right. Thank you for taking your time to answer. I'm very happy to do so. Thank you. What's the estimated combined sales of the group's members? I think conservatively speaking, like $250 million a year, because there's 2,500 people. There's a ton of people doing over 100,000. There's some people doing under, maybe they're beginners or part-timers or whatever. But like, even if they only did 100,000 each, that's 250 million. So like the whole time we've had the group, like we've surpassed $1 billion in sales, no doubt. All right. Why not move up north? Maybe one day. Do you think buying a home is worth it or just rent? I don't know. I think it's worth it. Like I bought my house and we have a substantial amount of equity in it. So like I think what we did here is a pretty smart move. Come to Dallas instead of New York. I think we have to go to Texas coming up. I'm not sure when, but I think we have to go to Texas like within the next 6 weeks or so. Who are or were your best customers? Young people searching for fashion or older customers? My man Zane in the chat. Zane in the chat was a great customer when I had eBay World Domination. Him and Lackjerv09. That guy was the best customer. He would order hundreds of items from me every single month. He knew what time I was done listing every single day, and he used to go in there and buy, 10, 20 items every single day. So Lackjerv, he was good. When you were in Los Angeles, how would you describe the thrift store and flea market vendors? Since I always hear your comparison of New Yorkers, asking you to pay up for the items. Los Angeles, it was okay. They have a flea market. I don't know what it is, maybe off the 405 or something. It literally says swap. It was kind of comparable to what I pay here at home. Like I don't think there was any difference in prices at the thrifts than what I pay at home. So like it was kind of the same price. So we went to some thrifts in San Jose. We went to some thrifts in Anaheim. We went to some thrifts in Los Angeles. It was comparable to like what I pay here at home. Pixie, how you doing? Long time no see. You seem to be all in. How do you create boundaries to be more successful? I've never said there's boundaries, Pixie. There is no balance. There is no there is no boundaries, no balance. It doesn't matter, and that's okay. I don't need to have boundaries. I don't need to have balance. Other people do, and that's okay. I don't shame other people for having boundaries and balance, but people that want to instill boundaries and balance will shame someone if they don't have boundaries and balance. But like, you don't have to live someone else's life. You need to live your life the way that makes you happy. And if you need boundaries and you need balance, then you need to institute those into yours. For me personally, there's no such thing as balance. There's no such thing as boundaries. It's just rock and roll 24/7. Good. Will Goodwill's AI item scanner lister first roll out in Florida? What are the signs to look for? I don't know when it's going to roll out, where it's going to roll out. I do know that some Goodwills are already listing on eBay using some iterations of AI. The programs aren't great today, but it doesn't mean they won't be great tomorrow. So like Goodwill of Atlanta is already listing on eBay with some form of an AI listing tool, but it's not great today. Found 3 Burberry trench coats. Very good. Think I need to lower price. Have you sold many Burberry trench coats? I have. I usually sell them for like a couple $100. Top 3 professional boxers. Oof. I like Roy Jones Jr. He's kind of my guy. Just Roy Jones Jr. So NASCAR and Harley short sleeves are kind of dying off on Depop. What do you think the next Bin Bros t-shirt trend will be? It's hard to say, man. Like I'm not in the culture of the Bin Bros. Like whatever the Bin Bros are gonna go for, that's what they're gonna go for, and I'll just try my best to kind of fill that need. So like I don't spend a lot of time speculating because then that could lead you down the wrong path and make wrong investments and hoard stuff or pick up stuff that you think will come in style. I figure out what's in style and then I go get it. Can you elaborate on the book club? So we have two of them. We have the book club on Monday, and that's kind of like they recommend a book like Profit First. Everyone will read a chapter. They'll talk about it on Monday. So they do Profit First. They do right now they're doing Sam Walton Made in America. So they have a book, kind of like Oprah's book club. They have a book, they all read through it, they get together, they talk about it. It can be very helpful. And we also have the media call, which is actually going on right now. And the media call is all about booksellers, CD sellers, DVD sellers, some really, really, really large sellers on that call who are sharing experience and helping people. They talk about both eBay and Amazon. So we have the media call for the booksellers. CU Sporting Lululemon. Yeah, that's right. We got it right here. Absolutely. California, about the only place that has close to perfect weather. Yeah, it was really nice. Everyone always says like San Francisco is like a crummy place to be. I thought it was beautiful. Los Angeles, like downtown Los Angeles, I don't know. That was kind of like downtown Miami. Like it wasn't. It was kind of like it was pretty crummy, but like nothing I haven't seen before. But like I thought San Francisco was gonna be like horrible. I like San Francisco. I thought it was very nice. How many hours did you work a day when you were doing 30 listings? I don't know, because I was going out thrifting. So the actual mechanical portion, the listing and the photos was probably 2 hours or so. You bust out the photos in 45 minutes or so. You bust out the listings in 45 minutes or an hour. So I don't know. Like if I was kind of taking my time, 2 hours, if I was really cruising, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half. Then you have to go out and you have to go find them. And of course, you have to pick and pack your 30 items. So I don't know, probably the better part of a day's work, but not quite a full day. With looking at comps with clothes to see if an item has a good sell through, how do you go about looking into it? So you look at how many are active. Let's say there's 100 active, and you look at how many have sold. Let's say there's 100 sold. That would be a 100% sell through, and that would show that that item does have desirability and velocity. If you see that there's 100 active and one sold, that means that nobody is really looking for it. So in terms of sell through, the closer the amount have sold versus the amount that's active, the faster the item is going to sell. Where are we? When you gonna visit the manufacturing facility for the reseller ruler? Is that a slick way of asking when I'm going to Indiana? Very smart. Why is your metric different than the $20 I see you get items that only sell for 15? You better check again, my friend. Like my average sale price on my YouTube video is $50 for clothing. At least $50 for clothing. Do you see China and Japan and South Korea continuing to source heavily in American vintage? Probably so. I've seen Salvation Army selling on eBay. Salvation Army also sells on Whatnot now. Is building a very large metal shed in my backyard reasonable place to store items? It could be, if it's large enough and it can, hold you over for long enough. But if it's going to be too small and you just got to bounce out of there, then maybe it's not the best, bang for the buck. What would you say that eBay is a better platform for handmade goods versus platform like Etsy? If I sold handmade goods, I would probably put them on every single platform because that is like a replenishable and you don't have to worry about getting an out of stock defect because you're going to have like 15 pre-made, handmade roosters. So I would put them on eBay. I would put them on Etsy. I would put them everywhere if I did a handmade store like that. What are your thoughts on liquidation pallets from Target and Nordstrom? Very, very saturated, very, very competitive. And you got to have very, very deep pockets to compete. When you say UPS ships for you, will they package the item up? They will package it, but they will charge you a lot. So I buy the box, I pack it myself, I buy my own label, and then I give it to them. Is there a way to check on eBay what's sold and for how much? Absolutely. You do a search, you go to left-hand navigation, you scroll to the bottom, you click sold, and then it will tell you all the sold comps for what happened. So if you're selling a Nike shirt, you type in Nike shirt, scroll down on the left, it says sold items. A new page will appear with all green numbers. Green numbers mean the item has sold, and that would be the sold comp. How many trees are felled just to print one CVS receipt? Depends, man. If you're really playing the game, a lot of them. How far into the journey did you start buying wholesale? Probably it was about 12 years into the journey when I started buying in bulk. Previous to that, I handpicked and sourced every single item. Free shipping or no free shipping? It depends what you can afford. We answered that question about 43 minutes ago towards the top of the call. It depends on what you can afford, and it depends on what your market can allow. Have you ever had a problem storing items in a storage unit that was not climate controlled? I have not. I am a big proponent of big fans and ceiling fans keeping the air circulating and moving. When the air is dead and stagnant, that's when you run into problems. When the air is moving, I've never had a problem. What are the top 3 brands you get excited when you find them? I don't get excited anymore when I find any brands. I've seen it all. I'm very jaded. I've touched literally tens of millions of pieces of clothing. Sad to say, I don't get excited anymore. Thank you all you do. I was wondering if in the group calls, will I be able to learn how to set up my eBay store LLC? We do have a bookkeeping call that's slightly out of the scope of the bookkeeping call talking about an LLC, but I would go talk to someone locally. You can get a free consultation. They'll give you the good news, and they'll be very helpful. So because every single person's situation and circumstance is different. So some person with your income level may not need to be incorporated. Some person with your income level, maybe they need to be, an S corp. So, everyone's circumstance is going to be different for that aspect. So in that situation, it's best to probably talk to a professional more locally that can look into your specific needs. How you doing, Lachey? How much is it to buy your own label? It depends on how much it weighs and what the dimensions are. It is definitely cheaper than paying at the counter at UPS, that's for sure. So Jeffrey is tapped out and rounding third base and going home. And I even let the chat jump again, and you guys are done. What is the average amount of items you find in a normal day at the flea market? On Saturday, like at least 500, like 500 to 1,000 on Saturday. What are the top 3 brands you think we should get excited for? I don't know. Brands that are going to sell for a lot of money, my friend. And there's a lot of those brands, so it's your job to go out and find them. And if you watch my video from not this Monday, the previous Monday, I probably showed 1,000 items that are worth $100 or more. So you can go out there and you can find it as well. How much is a good startup cost, and at what point to recruit an accountant? If you're asking that question, it's probably a good point to talk to an accountant. Again, you can get a free consultation. Just talk to them. It costs you nothing. Go talk to them, gain an expertise, see if they can help you. Getting an accountant is a tax deduction. You can write it off. Getting an accountant will save you more money than it costs to have them as an accountant. Do you recommend online sourcing? If it's profitable, if it's not, then no. So if you can find great items online for the air-conditioned comfort of your own recliner, hats off to you. Go for it, rock and roll. If you cannot, then you got to put boots on the ground. You got to go out and go get them. How long did it take you to get a solid routine and return on eBay? My routine, I'm a very routine-oriented person, as you guys can tell. Every Wednesday, I'm here at the same time. Tomorrow morning, I know what I'm doing at every single time. Like, I'm very routine oriented. I don't deviate from the routine very much. So like my routine was like pretty instantaneously, really solid for the eBay machine. So like once I convince myself I'm going to do something, I just do it and that's it. Have you ever sold GI Joes? Absolutely, I have. The old ones, sold for big money. All right, we have beat the chat. Thank you, folks. We are looking at 61 in a week world champion. This guy. And someone last week said, oh, but last week you were 82 in a week world champion. Do you guys know that I just make up the number every single week? Every single week I say, you are looking at insert number in a row world champion, because I have no idea how many weeks I beat the chat. So for this week, you're looking at week number 62 in a row, world champion, this guy. Thank you, folks. We'll see everybody next week. Post your questions in the chat. Thank you. Adios.